Chief dismisses me barely an hour later, sending me off with nothing but a light pat and another sorry expression. I'm not entirely sure if that's supposed to be reassuring. There's plenty more to do. A lot of people to call and tell, and all of it falls on me. No matter how awful the news I bring will be, it'll be better if this comes from a person his family and friends knows. Still, my body refuses any notion of movement. I don't even want to imagine what his grandparents will say. And his sister. They're good, kind, warm-hearted people who has given me another family even without me asking for it. They welcomed me, invited me every time, easily reminded me of what having a whole home feels like. I thought I'd already forgotten it. Zach's older sister will definitely show up in my apartment, though. Ring my doorbell and punch me as soon as I open the door, just like the last time. She's right. I'm the kind of person who brings nothing but trouble. She's known all along that Zach should have stopped hanging out with me, warned him several times. Aww. Zach has often laughed her concerns off. I used to think it's because he enjoys the friendship as much as I do, despite a huge part of it going unspoken between us throughout the years. Now he's dead. Another one. Another person brutally taken from me. I thought I had more time. I thought he'd be safe. The shock and the grief that I felt yesterday is nothing to what I'm feeling now. Because the people I care about the most are all gone. And I couldn't do a damn thing to save any of them. I acted too late. And in the deafening silence of my car, the only thing I'm able to do is close my eyes, rest my forehead against the cold surface of the steering wheel, and scream. A bitter pill. Scream until my throat bleeds raw. Scream until my lungs burn. Scream until all that remains are the guilt and the tears. Man. Ashton. Poor Ash. Now we got nice ghost lady whispers in our ears. The sun hangs lower when I stumble back into consciousness. With late afternoon light slanting through the windows of my car and painting the city outside with a vibrant shade of oranges and reds, it's almost as if no misfortune has befallen on us. On me. But they're gone. All of them. Out here, alone in broad daylight, the idea feels too palpable, too real. It's a painful truth I have to wake up to now. Every day from now on, if I ever survive her curse by some awful stroke of luck. Hell, I can almost see her at the corner of my eyes, leering at me with that cruel smile of hers. I can just hear her mocking me in my head. Laughing. Why didn't she go after me first? I saw the letter before Rebecca and Zach did. Why can't she just kill me after she's finished with the others so we can be done with this?
Why?
Aw, Ashton.
Why are you doing this? Do you even know what you're doing? How many people you've hurt? Do you even understand? Do you even realize what you've done?
But it's inane to ask questions of it. It's not even human. It doesn't understand pain. It doesn't feel guilt. It's irrational to even expect an explanation from her. Just like how irrational it is of me to reach for my gun and decide to keep pushing at this. Light glints briefly on its surface as if in agreement before I holster it. Because no matter how bleak and hopeless everything appears now, the people I've lost, they don't want me sitting here. I've got to do something. If not for my sake, then for theirs. For their memory. I'm getting nowhere dallying like this. I have to move. I still have one more lead I can look into. The mansion, including the people currently residing there, the Wrights. I know for a fact that Hannah Wright's death isn't Zach's doing. She also fell victim and died to the curse. It doesn't fall outside the realm of possibility that Luke Wright's under it too. I might not have much time left if so. Damn it. I've been so biased, not even thinking the bastard might also be a victim. But during the open house with Isabella, they might have seen the letter and... Fuck.
Stupid, stupid, stupid. Some fucking detective I am.
That's likely the moment when Cooper saw it, if not earlier. If the logic holds, I need to hurry there right away. And if there are answers anywhere, it would be there. It should be there, where all of this fucking mess started. It's not only my life on the line here. There's someone else. What happened to my friends, I won't wish on anyone else, no matter how much I loathe them. Tonight, by whatever means necessary, I have to get in there, find a way to break this damn curse. But I won't be able to do that without the letter with me. Okay. Need our lucky letter. Eeh. With all of his friends gone and the shadow of the curse looming over him, Ashton was at a loss. In a desperate decision, Ashton chose to head to the Ermengarde mansion that night, a bid to end the curse, and hopefully be able to at least save someone. Even his worst enemy. The wind has already picked up when I exit my car and return to the precinct. Somewhere, the faint sound of thunder booms, filtering even through the concrete walls of my workplace. Though sparsely manned around this hour, the on-duty officer's lively chatter easily fills the room. So was the letter taken as evidence after Bella's death? Some coax me into joining them when I pass by, but all of it has been turned down in favor of rushing straight to the evidence area. Normally, taking evidence out is a tedious process. However, being one of the people in charge of investigating Isabella's murder smoothens the process. And after spouting a legit-sounding reason, the custodian is handing me the letter 5 minutes later. Snitching letters. Alright. So it's got its own little plastic bag. I'll probably get in trouble for this if they find out I lied. But everything has already gone foobar. Getting in trouble at work is the least of my worries. Worst case? I'll be dead, and they'll have no one to dismiss. Well, this is true. In case I survive, I'll think about that later when this whole ordeal with the dumb curse is over. I mean, look at this thing. I won't take it seriously if it isn't for all the fucked up shit that's been happening. This is the sort of stupid people pass along as a prank through emails and text messages, for fuck's sake. Did people seriously make copies of this and pass them around to try and save themselves from a possible curse? That's the inane logic that could be garnered from the fact that there are multiple victims. Was Isabella not saved because she had simply shown us this one instead of sending 5 different ones? What sort of selfish person would even endanger 5 other people just to save their own skin? More importantly, what does this have to do with the mansion? There'll be time for answers later. I've wasted enough time here. Quickly, I stuff the letter into my pocket and head back to my car. Man, all the journal entries. Ashton dropped by LPD's evidence area before heading for Anselm Village. Tonight, by whatever means necessary, he had to get inside the mansion and find a way to break the curse. And he wouldn't be able to do that without the letter. Within 10 minutes, I'm driving out of Luxburn and heading straight for Anselm Village. In the distance, flashes of lightning light up the horizon, white and sharp against the black curtain of the night. Thunder threatens with a rumble seconds later, echoing long across the heavens. And with one last roar, the sky is open in earnest. And with that, it's November 1st. Midnight. The rain fall in fast, steady sheets, creating shallow puddles on the dirt path, drenching everything the eyes can reach. Despite having grown up in the city, I still despise the rain. Living here doesn't mean I have to like it. Lucky me, I've reached the mansion before the downpour has turned torrential. The long slog from Anselm Village by foot has already been made difficult by the light drizzle and biting winds buffeting against my body every few seconds. By the time I found cover under the trees lining the vicinity of the mansion, my shoulders are already drenched. My hair is also sticking against my skin and out in every possible direction. Thankfully, the letter, taser, and gun I've brought with me has remained relatively dry. That's the most important thing. However, those are the least of my problems at the moment. Sometime after the housewarming party, Scumbag, right, has suddenly grown a brain and tightened the security around the mansion. Likely because of what Zack did. A guard is now stationed in every possible point of entry. The main entryway, the back door leading to the kitchens. Hell, it's almost a miracle no one has spotted me once I entered the property, although that's probably because I've kept close to the forest. While I can always create a clever way in for myself under this deluge, it'll be difficult to do so without making much noise or leaving tracks.
I don't really have the luxury either, do I?
Considering how off this place feels since I've stepped in the property and the mansion came into view, every light is off. Even with the security personnel and patrol outside, the whole house itself, it feels empty, eerie, too quiet. Normally, I'll pass it off as some kind of a power outage because of the storm. It's not a far-off conclusion when this place is almost in the middle of nowhere. However, something just feels wrong.
Something happened here.
Or about to. It's the sole reason why I haven't done anything yet. Simply observing, watching, listening, for anything. I might be pressed for time, but I'm not a careless idiot. Although I need a way in, desperately so, moving without thinking will not only endanger me. With so many unknown variables and what we're dealing with, I also have to act on the assumption that someone is always in danger, especially in this place. I can't act impetuously. As much as I hate Wright, I'm not about to cause his death because of one thoughtless action. If there's a place he deserves to be at, it's in a prison, not a morgue. Yep, agreed. So, when a hoarse, painful sob suddenly rings out above the loud pitter-patter of rain, only then do I stir. A woman. Perhaps a servant? It's coming from the forest? Just right up ahead, in fact. Not too far from the house. Regardless, I give the place a quick, wary glance before following the noise. Carefully, keeping to the shadows, one cautious step after another. Louder and louder it goes as I near. Until it abruptly turns into a loud, desperate anguish cry. I break into a run. One nervous hand, ready on the gun holstered at my hip, and the other raised for balance as I scurry across the dense understory. Dead leaves crunch under my shoes, but I pay it no mind. There's only the voice, the woman, and... nothing. Abruptly it all stops, and I am met with a sudden hush. Blank. Empty. Almost deafening in its stillness, even with my labored breathing and pounding heartbeats against my ears. Behind me, another branch breaks, and...
Help me.
You're giving me mixed signals, lady. Dread surges within me while I spin around and take a hard step back, ignoring the chilly pinpricks crawling at the back of my neck. But before I can even meet her eyes, the world unexpectedly pitches sideways, tilting, and tilting till the ground beneath me finally crumbles. My hand fights for purchase, only to meet air. By then it's too late. My foot slips further and the rest of my body follows. Dark spots blur the edges of my vision. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. Soft footfalls echo from the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with the sharp, piercing notes of her laughter. But more than that are the voices, lacing venom inside every crevice in my head. Murmurs that jeer, scoff, and deride. Over. It's because you didn't listen. And over. It's all your fault. And over again. Why won't you believe me? A reminder of what I failed to do and of who I failed. What I'm trying to desperately fix. A scream threatens to burst, but my throat closes off. Ever so slowly, a chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me apart from one. There is only fear. Once again, her laughter echoes, a sound both bitter and unforgiving. It is the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. And I'm awake. Alright, so there's gonna be no Marianne in here to greet us today. I think this is the same. Half darkness greets me when my eyes finally snap open, the soft patter of dripping water somewhere spurring my consciousness further. For a few short moments I remain still, blinking away the dizziness, allowing my vision to adjust to the lack of light and my breathing to even out first, before pushing myself up on one arm and attempting to stand. Turning alone is a struggle on its own. An inch of movement sends a stab of sharp pain right up my arms and my back, giving me another pause.
Shit. I hope I didn't break anything. Fuck.
There doesn't seem to be any injury or a major fracture, although the whole of my back does feel sore and raw. Probably from when I've skidded down prior to landing myself here. A comforting thought. The second attempt comes easier later, though no less painful. And by the time I'm back on my feet, the exertion has left me gasping in short, shallow breaths and leaning heavily on the wall nearest to me. Behind me, a light draft blows in from where I've fallen in, coming in short, sharp bursts into what's apparently an underground tunnel and brings in the fresh, earthy smell of rain from the topside. Regardless, it fails to mask the old, musty scent of the place. A mixture of mold, mildew, dust, grease, and something distinctly foul. Like death. More worrisome than the putrid, festering smell, however, are the cells that line both sides of the tunnel. Under the dim light, I can barely make out what's inside on some of them, but I already have a few ideas, all of which I refuse to delve into at the moment. Knowing how long this mansion has stood, somehow, no matter how unexpected finding the existence of this place is, it isn't too surprising.
I wonder if Scumbag knows about this.
Probably not. Unless he's also the kind of person who takes joy in inflicting this kind of suffering on others. I don't really think so. He's rotten to the core, but not that rotten. He'll probably balk at this. Move out at the first opportunity and have it demolished. The very idea of what has occurred in this place years ago makes me reel as well. I've known long ago places like this tend to hold secrets. This, though? If this is just the tip of the iceberg, I fear what I may discover in the mansion itself and the tale behind that fucking letter. But fear's inconsequential. As unpleasant as the sight of this place might also be the only way for me to get inside unnoticed. Sighing and taking one last gulp of clean air, I push away from the wall and delve deeper into the passage.
Let's just hope it'll be smooth sailing from here on.
Turns out, it is, for the most part. The path rarely deviates, no sharp turns or branching roots. Just a long, empty hallway stretching up before me, filled with nothing but dust, dirt, and a few rusted chains scattered about. The only problem is having an overactive imagination. And walking amidst a place shadowed by death? Every sound, every sudden movement, even the faintest of it spurs it. At times, there are scampering small noises that abruptly rises above my footfalls, rebounding off the hollow walls and echoing inaudibly across the whole span of the tunnel, before fading away just as swiftly as it rang.
It's probably just some animal.
Sure. A rat, maybe? I hope. I pause, nevertheless, straining my ears for more of it, while I gradually move my hand to my side, slow and steady until the tips of my fingers brush off the gun's handle. Although cold against my skin, it's the closest thing I have to comfort at the moment. For a long minute I wait, holding my breath, watching every form, edge, and shadow at the corners of my vision for any movement. After a heartbeat and nothing, I allow the tension to ease out of me in the form of a long, slow exhale that reverberates around the whole place. Things continue like this as I traverse the whole passage, pausing, listening, moving on, repeat, eventually losing track of time while I go deeper into the tunnel, until finally the corridor ends with a sight of light slanting from a door left ajar. On the other side, from whatever little glimpse the opening offers, I spy bottles lining the walls and liquor barrels for aging. The wine cellar.
Right into the kitchen, then.
More than eager to get out of this place, I quicken my pace. But as soon as the door is within arm's reach and I push it open, a foul, putrid scent assaults my senses. That'll be our girl. A heady mixture of odors, akin to a rotting fruit and decaying meat, that catches me completely off guard. Shouldn't Johans have gone down there at some point after the party and, I don't know, put the wine away that wasn't served or something? Sure, he keeps a clean mansion. I'm surprised he's left the body there. Surprised, I stumble back, gagging, having accidentally breathed a lungful of it. Only for my foot to end up disturbing the edge of a nearby puddle I failed to notice earlier. It sends splashes of liquid right across the hem of my pants, and I fight the urge to grimace as a raw metallic smell rises up in the air. A smell I'm already more than familiar with. Thank you very much. That doesn't mean I have to like it. Sighing, I take a brief moment to brace myself before crossing the threshold, already expecting the worst. The trail of dark liquid leads me to it. Its form is slumped against a wine vat not too far from the door. The rank lingers heavier here, stronger. Putrefaction has just started. But in a place like this, you can't really tell the time of death from that alone. That's true. Alright, where are we? Let's check that. Since we have the technology of this magical journal. Okay, that was Bella. Okay, that's when Bella was found. Okay, not then. Still alive then. Still alive then. Okay. So Friday evening, and then, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4? 3 to 4 days? Yeesh. The humidity and temperature in this room has likely delayed the process. An estimate: this person has died sometime around 3 to 5 days ago. Well done! You really are a detective. Which places the timeline around the time people are just moving in, and also the housewarming party. A servant, then? No. Someone with the same social status as the Wrights. Whoever it is has also read the letter, based on the writings around the body. Someone who was also present during the open house and the party, so it has helped me around her as well. So a guest. Wordlessly, I draw closer, muttering a quiet prayer under my breath for the departed. She would appreciate that. The least I can do now is figure out who it is, and try to find his or her family once I'm done here. Let them know what has become of their kin. Even through the layers of clothes, its shoulder feels cold to the touch. Somehow, despite not being new to this, it still sends a nauseating chill to my stomach. Maybe it's because this time I know exactly why this person died. Another person too late to save from this curse. Ignoring the dread gently, I give the blazer a pull. Ugh. Oh, no, oh, no. You moved it too much. Oh, gosh. Ghost Girl had, propped her up so nicely. Oh, no. The eyes are still open. Oh, gosh. Mary Ann, I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna keep my hand here so I don't have to look at that. Unexpectedly, her head lolls back, twisted, contorted, severed. It dangles. Fuck, it dangles. From one side to the other before settling at an odd angle. The next thing I know, I'm staring at the hollow base of her neck with only a thin layer of skin keeping her severed head to her body. Ugh. But more than the gruesome sight, or the sickening feeling that is lurched up to my throat, is recognition. I know this woman. And it's not just any woman I've seen randomly on the streets. She's the same one I met at G's 5 days ago, smashed drunk and babbling her frustrations about her employers. Marianne McCulloch, famous interior designer extraordinaire. Not so extraordinary now! Dang, Ash, too soon. With her throat sliced viciously in half and her whole body drenched in her own blood. Oh, thank God it's over. Please don't draw that picture in here. Please. Oh, thank God. After his fall, Ashton found himself in an underground passage when he came to. Despite the questions in his mind, pushed on, the passage eventually led him right into the mansion's wine cellar. But inside is... Once the surprise subsides, I muster the courage to properly lie her down, closing her eyes and covering her face with my handkerchief. Thank you for that, at least. It's perhaps the kindest gesture I can offer her right now, pressed for time as I am. But to see another suffer this kind of death... In the end, the only thing I'm able to do is avert my gaze and continue with my plans. Surreal. This is all nothing but a surreal nightmare, but after everything, should this even surprise me? Ghosts, curses, hidden passages... I can't even bring myself to vocally question anything anymore, in spite of a number of them already swimming inside my head. As a kid, I used to crave for this kind of adventure. The stuff of mystery and detective novels, Daring chases, interesting cases to solve, suspects to put behind bars, justice to serve. I was blinded, I admit. Now I simply want this to be over.
You really believe it'll be that easy, don't you?
Hello, ghosts of the past. I pause mid-step, confused. Warily I look around, searching wildly for the source. A long minute passes. No one speaks again. Breathing out a sigh of relief, I simply continue. This time, treading lightly, careful not to make a sound. Up ahead I can already glimpse a set of stairs. That must lead to the kitchen. Getting unnoticed in the wine cellar is not a problem, but if someone's upstairs when I pop up... Well, to say it'll be complicated might be a little of an understatement. Especially if that butler is in there. Zach wasn't even able to put up a fight. If I get caught, no one else will be able to fix this. Yeah, there's no Marianne to give your taser to. There's no Bella to run in with a rolling pin. You're on your own.
See? So full of yourself, aren't you?
Zach, not like this. This time I'm sure. There's really a voice. Well, voices. Despite standing only a few paces away from the exit, I find myself stopping and looking for it. And there's no Marianne to snap you out of this either. Searching the immediate surrounding for the familiar form of the woman. I don't even have to venture too far from where I'm standing. Just an arm's length away from me, a mirror stands. And from it... Oh, that's even worse than the shattered glasses. Just the faint outlines of your friends. They speak. All singing the same mocking tune against my ears, letting it echo throughout the small undercroft. Murmurs and laughters, jeering, scoffing, deriding, lacing venom into every crevice in my head, taunting me.
Look at you, mouthing off like some hero. You can't even fix your own silly little problems. You haven't really changed, have you?
Useless.
Pathetic.
You're wrong.
My mistake lies in this first instance I've answered. The very second denial has slipped from my mouth, their words have also seeped into my heart, allowing it to prod at and rouse my temper. Despite knowing they are merely doing this to goad me, each word, each syllable trickle into me, spurring the guilt I hope I've long buried.
Are we? Or is that simply what you've been telling yourself all this time? Something to make yourself feel better, perhaps?
What about Zach? Wrongfully accused, and you couldn't even get him out.
What about Becca?
Oh gosh, one by one.
Oh, the way she fell to her death, while all you did was watch. What about Isabella? She warned you, didn't she? And you think you deserved even an ounce of her love?
Ouch.
Did you think this'll bring her back? You can't even save her. You can't even do anything for her. They're all dead because of you.
You're the one who took that letter off Isabella's hand that day. You're the one who opened it.
How does it feel, I wonder, to know you're responsible for all of this? For their deaths.
What do you think I'm doing? Why do you think I'm still trying to fix this?
Oh, but you can't. It's already too late, and you know that. You know all of this is futile.
Just face it, Ashton Frey. You're a failure, and they are the ones who have to pay for it.
A badge and a gun, and you still can't protect your own friends. Can't even solve a case for an old man.
Can't even bring Luke right to justice.
Can't even keep his own family together.
Okay, you're going too far now.
No wonder they left you. Before you do the same thing to them.
Mom and Dad are better off without little old you, aren't they? It's a good thing they had the sense.
Pitiful, isn't it? Some detective you are. Some friend you are. Some son you are. You might as well just throw that rank away. You're no use to people either way.
Shut it!
I hate this. I hate how this monster can easily get through to me. Every weakness, every insecurity, it knows. To hear it said in my friend's voice, even more so. But what I hate above all of it is...
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it. You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
Shut it! Not a single word anymore!
In the end, your own incompetence led to the deaths of everyone you cared about.
Meh. It laughs, sharp and piercing. At its sound, something in me snaps, a rage hastily unfurling, red filling my vision. Do you just punch the mirror? And the next thing I know, I'm raising my hand and my fist connects to its surface. A broken spirit. It shatters, renting the air with an ear-splitting crack, sending fragments of it on the floor. The fog from my mind lifts. Every sound, every noise returns to me, flooding my every senses. All at once there is this deafening silence. Slowly I become aware of my surroundings. Bottles of wine, barrels of liquor, the faint old scent of death and decay somewhere, and the small cuts at the back of my fingers. Blood drips from each digit, trailing down my wrist until it disappears behind my sleeve or falls to the floor. Not too deep. Negligible, even. There is a pain, however. A different kind. An ache somewhere else that stems not from the wound, but where every single word is hit. On the ground, shards lie lifeless now. No more voices, no more insults. But even as I walk away, one whispered taunt continues to ring in my ears.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
You know nothing, Ashton Frey.
You are going to die.
And you are going to die alone.
A fear. I just realized, like, the laugh from Zach is very similar to the woman's laugh. That's a nice touch. Hi, where the mirror goes! Before he could go deeper into the wine cellar, Ashton began to hear voices coming from a mirror, mocking him for his failures. It hit a sore spot in him, and in losing his temper, he smashed the mirror with his own fist. And unfortunately, they're right that he's gonna die alone. One that has been long kept in the darkest place in my heart. One that a small part of me wishes for. Death alone. The trapdoor swings open without much fuss. It isn't even locked. Probably left open for when Wright asks for some midnight snack. Excuse me. I make sure the coast is clear, of course, before I pull myself up. The butler of theirs is nowhere to be seen. He's probably sleeping, attending to his master, or doing some extra late-night work before turning in for the night. Meanwhile, Wright won't touch anything to do with menial chores, not even with a 10-foot pole. It's next to impossible for him to linger here. No servants. No anyone. And just as easy as that, I'm in. Gently, I close the hatch. If things go well, the same path will be my way out. If my luck doesn't hold, that's not an option now, is it? I really don't want to think about what might happen. Sometimes it's best if I simply revel in the little victories. They're great blessings when everything else is going against you. And in a place like this fraught with unknown dangers, it's a feeling that lasts only but a second. Suddenly, a sob. Ringing out from some distant part of the house, echoing through its empty halls. My shoulders immediately tenses, hairs raising at the back of my neck as a sudden chill passes. This despite myself and the beliefs I've long held. Because as much as I want to convince myself that nothing's wrong, my experience tells a wholly different story.
What are the chances I'll be able to leave this place alive?
Not good, Boo. I want to be optimistic about it. Really. However, I'm going against something almost everyone can't quite understand. I'm just being realistic with my chances. Beyond the walls of this room, the cries continue to grow louder. With a ragged draw of breath, heavy with apprehension, I slip out of the door. Like a siren call, her voice beckons. Finding out who that is seems a good place to start as any. I keep to the shadows for the most part. Not that there's any need to. The entire place just feels empty. Odd, when a house this big should have a large staff. You'd think there'll be one or two roaming about for some late-night chores, or someone seeking out whoever's creating this ruckus. There's none, however.
Shouldn't they have security posted inside as well?
Unless their security means the butler, though I doubt Scumbag's that sloppy. He loves his life more than anything. Probably more than his own wife. And the things he's done, he's bound to make more than an enemy or two. He's also the kind who'll do anything to keep himself safe. Alive.
I wonder what he'll say when he finds out that there's something not human living with him in his own house.
Potential dangers aside, being on my own grants me a greater degree of mobility, which I'm more comfortable with. With no tag along, I only have to worry about myself, watch my back. Selfish, I know.
But necessary.
In the same manner this whole plan is, no matter how idiotic going into this is. Besides, I don't really need a guide when the house's layout is fairly simple. Almost mirrored, with only a few modifications in the rooms. Although I've only been here once, I think I already have a good grasp of this place's ins and outs. As long as you can tell which is east and west, it shouldn't be hard to find my way around. After the dining room, the main foyer should be the next thing that greets me, where the woman's cries are leading me. Honestly, after what happened outside, I'm not even sure if I should be trusting what I'm hearing. But with the whole house somehow seemingly devoid of any of its inhabitants, I'm inclined to look into this. More than surviving this curse, a huge part of this is my training speaking.
I just hope this isn't a crime scene I'm walking into.
But nothing's ever that simple, isn't it? Not when you're dealing with the supernatural. Nope. Because as soon as my feet crosses to the next room, something shifts. In a flash, nearly without fanfare. It happens in the blink of an eye, I almost miss it. One moment there's red. In the next, I'm standing alone in the foyer. For a brief instant I pause, glancing wildly around the place, blinking twice as if my movements will spur the vision back. Yet, nothing. No blood dripping on the walls, none trailing down the stairs or pulled on the floor, no eyes watching my every moment. Only the same cries gradually growing in intensity the longer I dally, along with a voice.
Mother.
Desperate.
Where are you, Mother?
Pleading.
Mother, please. I don't want to be alone.
Coming from the same direction I've heard the cries from. Upstairs. The place is not entirely empty, then. A better question now is who? Definitely not Scumbag or the butler. I've yet to see hide nor hair of them, and not knowing their whereabouts puts me on the edge. Especially when they've yet to be warned about that curse and its horrors. It's most certainly not the wife, either. Nevertheless, it pushes me to move. Taking almost 2 steps at a time, despite the sickening feeling that something's lurking behind every great shadow, every small corner I pass. As if the house has several eyes watching my every movement. As if something alive dwells behind the walls itself. Ah! Boop. Just for my benefit, then. Alright. I think we've read that one before. I try to shake it off. I'm curious if any of this is new. No, this is all old stuff. Okay. So, he found Charlotte crying. And then, what happened? Okay. Johans has shown up. Hit me in the knees. The momentum alone sends me reeling forward. It barely even registers in my head that the woman's gone and the room's as normal as it can be. Not above the pain suddenly shooting up my side when I hit the floor. But before I can get my bearings back, a hard enough blow to the head makes everything go dark. Man, he was fast this time. He didn't mess around. Alright, he got knocked out. My consciousness stirs in a haze. Now, the thing people need to know about a blow to the head is that they hurt. Real bad.
I swear! People need to stop breaking into my house!
I swear!
What is wrong with all these lunatics? You'd think they'd put more thought before stumbling into somebody else's home unannounced. This on top of my wife's dead body, which is missing from the bloody morgue.
Excuse me? Well, that's concerning. What? Hannah Wright? A corpse? Missing? I don't like where this is going. Whoever hit me must have dealt a way harder blow than I thought if I'm starting to hear things.
I suppose the act of committing crime must have some attraction to the insane.
Well, I guess you two would know, wouldn't you?
Of course, you'd know all about that, wouldn't you?
Hey, Johannes, there's my boy. But short of a concussion, as long as the poor guy wakes up soon after, they're going to be fine. For the most part.
I'd bloody gut you. But you won't be able to clean up after if you're the sorting corpse, will you?
I'd love to see you try. When was the last time you...
Lifted a finger.
Oh, there we go. The dumb cop is waking up.
Hello. People really need to worry if the guy doesn't wake up within a few minutes. That's a sign of brain damage or, well, death. Still, even with a short time of unconsciousness, there might still be problems. Slight memory loss and forgetfulness, for instance. I do remember finding an attic. So, where am I now and what happened? Those are questions I really wanted answers to. With the pounding in my head, I can't focus long enough to worry about anything else. Can't even remember how I got here. But aside from the fact that it feels like my mouth is stuffed with imaginary cotton, I can feel the thick tape that prevents me from asking. The only thing I really managed to vocalize, especially with the raging headache, is a muffled...
Fuck.
Priorities. Nice. Surprisingly, I soon find that I'm not blindfolded. Usually it's both, or the other way around. Ah. Okay. In the study. Interesting. My eyes soon adjust as the image of a study swims into view. That at least answers one of my questions. Hello. Not too far from where I stand, Wright and his butler stare at me much like how kids stare at the frog they're about to dissect. That's a good way to describe it. It doesn't help that I seem to be cuffed to something, with my arms raised up high. My coat is gone, along with my other belongings. I don't have to wonder where they are, though, as I can spy them on a serving trolley next to a silver platter and cloche. Really doesn't bode too well for me.
Huh, awake already. He's only been out a few minutes. Shruggin, did you not hit him hard enough? Shouldn't he be out longer? That rolling pin was made of metal.
Ow!
His skull must be very thick.
I only want to knock him out, not kill him, silly man. If I really wished him dead, I could have easily targeted his pterion. That, or the back of his neck, just below the skull. Oh well, look at it this way. It is good news. This means he'll be capable of giving you the answers you seek, yes?
True, true. I do have many questions for our trespasser here. Why don't we start up with the most basic of questions? Why are you here? Of course, if he starts squealing like a pig, perhaps we might need to gut him like one. What do you say, little pig?
Normally I'll be insulted at being called little. Everything else is fine. But little. Oh, Ash has got small man syndrome. But there are more pressing matters to attend to. Ahem. For instance, convincing them into letting me go and making sure I, at the very least, don't die while I'm hanging like a piece of meat on a hook. Maybe I can still salvage this confusing clusterfuck of a situation.
Think you can just get the drop on me, you dodgy little shit? You underestimate me, just like every other meathead out there. You really should have taken more precautions before treading into the wolves' den. Shouldn't you be trained for this? Whoever you work for sure did a shit job with you. Which is it, huh? Which is it this time, huh?
Do you not recognize this man before you? He's like been in your house 5 times since you moved in the last week. Like the way Luke's acting is like he's a hired assassin, when he obviously just saw him not that long ago at the police station. I mean, I guess he could have just been undercover as a cop at the police station, and he's like, oh, you're still a hired assassin, but...
The National Crime Agency? Or were you sent to kill me? Not that being one or the other will do you any favors, of course.
They wait, expecting an answer, which is ridiculous, seeing as how they gagged me. Not to mention the ability to form coherent sentences is made difficult because of a serious case of fluff for brains. Did he have to hit me so hard? It was him who hit me, isn't it? Fucking scrambled my brains. All 2 of them. Even now, I'm still struggling to remember how I've ended up in this state. In the first place, why did I have to get caught now?
Maybe I can talk if you remove the damn gag.
I do not understand a single word he said.
I think the reason for that is obvious. Would you like for me to remove it?
I don't know. He looks tolerable and less of an idiot with the tape on. But it isn't fun playing 20 questions with someone I can't understand.
As long as he doesn't start clucking like a noisy earth hen or start screaming for help, we should be fine.
Of course, of course. Oh, the nosy ones are the worst. They piss me off so much. Oh, somebody help me, help me, help me!
Luke, stop. Please. I can't with you. It's when it hits me. The woman in the attic, the mansion, and of course, it all boils down to the fucking letter. Again. I came here to warn him. That's the easy part. Making him believe me, on the other hand. I try to think of how I'll go about this, though words fail me. As soon as the tape is ripped off my mouth, I'm already shouting whatever I can think of. There just isn't much time.
So tell me, little pig, why are you here? Did the NCA send you to apprehend me, or has somebody paid you off to kill me?
It's none of that. That's not why I'm here. You have to believe me. There's someone else. I think it came from this house. There's this letter and a curse, and she's... We're all in danger. You need to let me go so I can help before it's too late. You saw the letter, you must have seen it, and we're going to die because of it.
Judging by the looks on their faces, they're not sure whether to take me seriously or not. They must think I'm a lunatic.
It already took everything from me, so just listen before it takes anything else.
But it's not like I can conjure up proof.
Listen, before it...
A wave of nausea hits me, stopping me mid-sentence as I fight the urge to gag. A ringing sound starts to go off in my ear, and I nearly vomit then and there.
Well, that's new and original, at least. I never heard such a sad lie before. How could a pathetic little man like you be of any help to me? Sounds like some convoluted reasoning a hitman would try to sell. You might try to kill me the moment we let you go. You're already screaming your head off after we told you not to.
He was pretty quiet during that, actually.
I'm not with NCA, alright? And I'm not a hitman. I'm an inspector with LPD, okay? But it doesn't matter right now. What matters is you untie me and we get to a safer place. I don't have time for your bullshit! Just let me the fuck go!
And it's over.
I've got a clean conscience. I'm only trying to save you. She's coming, I tell you!
I apologize. I think I did hit him a little too hard. He's already talking in riddles. Next thing you know, he'll be speaking in tongues.
Please, you have to believe me. We're all in danger. Let me go, damn it!
Yeah, I think that running pit did knock his brains off a bit. What do you think he's talking about? She?
I can't really tell you that, as I have no idea. I don't really care to find out about every woman in your life, do I?
Oof.
What I can tell you is that I found a few interesting items in his coat pocket. A gun and a badge for an LPD officer. A detective, specifically.
So he was telling the truth about that.
Well, at least the little pig's telling the truth.
This doesn't sound familiar to you? He's the one who's been snooping about, I believe. He was also there, if my memory serves me right, at the precinct when you filed a report.
Well, I'm glad that Johan's memory is better, at least. Those words would have got me worrying, but with the signs of what could be a concussion popping up, I didn't have the capacity to care right now. I'm more worried about the bile rising up my throat, threatening to spill from my lips. Wouldn't that be funny, if I vomited on them while they tried to interrogate me?
The detective inspector assigned you to look into me. Harvey did mention that. I didn't think he'd take my request to assign someone incompetent seriously.
Rude.
He's not NCA then, but he can still be a hitman if he's a dirty cop, can't he?
Yeah, it's not improbable.
I am not a hitman! And don't touch my goddamn gun, it's not a toy!
Well, it might as well be.
That's what a hitman would say. I'm not taking that risk, am I? I'm not going to die by acting like an idiot. Besides, I know that the investigation on me was called off by the chief inspector. so your alibi doesn't hold. You shouldn't have been here. You're still a threat.
Why is he so damn paranoid? Not that I'm one to talk.
I'm telling you, you saw that letter, didn't you? I don't know how it works, but everyone who's seen it ends up dead or in an accident if they don't go missing entirely. I know this sounds crazy, but you have to believe me.
And we're back to the madman ramblings. But, yes, I think I do remember you. You're the one from the precinct the other day, aren't you? When I went there to handle that business with the other peasant. You looked so mad when I spoke about him. And that man really did break into my house. Was he your partner? Another hitman? He failed. So now you're here to finish the job.
I told you I'm not a hitman! I came here to try to save your skin, asshole!
Ugh.
Now, being rude doesn't make things better for you.
Punch a guy in the gut while he has a concussion, will you? That is a terrific way to get puked on.
We do have ways to make him talk, if you want to be sure. But I don't see why we don't just kill him now and dump the body.
I want to know who's got a big enough grudge to throw someone at me. You know well enough we can't get answers from a carcass. Besides, I don't see why you're complaining. I know you've been looking forward to playing with him. I could do with the entertainment.
Ugh.
Well, you have me there. I thought I wouldn't get the chance.
Do so. Make him talk. Make him sing. Find out who he's working for. See if he has anything to do with that woman who keeps showing up here recently.
You think maybe that's connected to what he's saying?
Oh, he will sing all right. A pretty little tune.
Still reeling from the blow to the stomach, I can't protest as a pair of hands go up to my collar. I anticipate strangulation. I prepare myself to go under, back into the oblivion of a forced stupor. But instead, gloved hands deftly move to the buttons of my shirt to have them undone. Okay. Well, damn, Ashton's ripped as heck. Good God. Unfortunate I had to find out under these circumstances, but I'm okay with it. Cold air stings at my chest. In contrast, warmth flushes through my cheeks at the humiliation. Being strung up and beaten is one thing, but this? My shirt's undone. They said it themselves, didn't they? I'm entertainment right now. This really isn't how I pictured this scenario. I mean, I know things are only going to get worse before they get any better. I was prepared, as well as I can be, for the trouble to be from her. I just didn't think I'd be in trouble because of him. I'm here to save him. Karma can at least play along for once. I guess this is what they mean when they say that no good deed goes unpunished. And if that means keeping quiet, tiring them out, and enduring this little interrogation session while they wait for a non-existent confession, then so be it. Because if they think I have the answers they need, the only way I'll be getting out of here is in a body bag. Right's eyes burn into me with the way he watched, anticipating and ready for a show. On the contrary, his lapdog's gloves left cold trails where his hands roamed in a clinical, detached manner. I feel degraded. Anger and resentment eventually washes it away. And I am ashamed to admit, a touch of fear makes itself apparent when gloved hands are taken back so that the man can procure a set of knives. I wasn't worried about being killed just yet. They want a confession that I don't have. But I imagine they'll prolong my agony as long as they believe I'm hiding something from them.
Don't touch me!
Oh, don't give me that look. You must think I'm a bad guy. Hardly. The way I see it, I'm just a guy who likes to do bad, sinful things.
I'm just a guy.
And, well, this is what the master of the house is asking of me. I'm afraid I'm in no position to refuse.
The idea that I'm a frog to be dissected isn't too far off, it seems. Without warning, the knife is dragged along my stomach. The touch is light, and the incision leaves a shallow mark. It doesn't even bleed, barely breaking through skin. It's the thought and promise of pain that has me riled up. The blade dances on my skin, almost as if he's writing letters with a feather pen. Up and down, from side to side, and sometimes around. And then with a flourish he cuts deep. I'm barely able to stop myself from crying out in pain.
I'm sorry. Did that hurt? Did it?
I don't think you stopped yourself from crying out in pain. Inhale, exhale. The pain rings and resonates through my already sore body. Still, I manage to ride it out and spit a mutinous.
Fuck you.
He doesn't appreciate my sentiment, of course, if the way he digs a finger into the incision and rips a scream from my throat is any indication.
Keep that dirty mouth and you're getting a knife in the kidney. Between the bleeding and the sepsis, I assure you, it will be very painful.
It's an odd and painful sensation, no matter how short-lived. The man is quick to return to his art, treating his knife like a damn brush and using me like I'm a damn canvas. Cuts are made, both shallow and deep, and crisscross and webs across my skin. At one point, I lose track of the time. I don't even know how long I've been hanging here. Has it been minutes? Hours? The sting of the blade is the worst with the way he alternates light touches and deep incisions that I can't even familiarize myself with and accustom to the pain. Sometimes, if I make a sound he doesn't like, he'll prod a finger in again and twist it in the wound.
You sure look like you're having fun.
Of course. Schadenfreude is best experienced at nighttime. Would you like a turn?
I don't see why not. Just gag him. He gets any louder and will attract attention. I don't want him to start rambling and whining again. He'll talk. Sooner or later. Until then, the tape goes back on.
Our training doesn't prepare us to withstand torture. Not of this kind.
And when we're done with him, there's a nice plot of land for new daffodils.
Ugh.
You'll make excellent fertilizer. Sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
The only thing that keeps me from begging for death is the thought that I can still get out of here. Even then, it sounds like a hollow hope.
While we're at it, why don't you be a good boy and close your eyes? I really don't like the way you're looking at me. If looks could kill, really. I think I'd be dead on the spot. Close your pretty little eyes unless you want me to pluck them out with a spoon.
He really didn't need to threaten me by now. It's all too much to bear at this point. And without meaning to, I'm gone. Poor Hash. What did I miss? When Ashton came to, his hands were cuffed above him, and Luke Wright stood before him. Unwilling to believe the detective's explanation, Luke had Johans torture him for answers until the poor detective lost consciousness. Hello? The first thing I realize, as soon as I come to again, is the fact that everything hurts. My chest and stomach, especially. But in general, I just wish I can crawl into a hole, curl up, and die. I can assume they've gotten tired of slicing into me the moment they realized I was knocked out. The second thing I notice is the fact that they're gone, leaving me all alone and still handcuffed. I can't really survey the extent of the damage done to me as my shirt is buttoned back up. Well, that's nice. Though I can feel the dried blood lining my skin here and there, I can at least be grateful they didn't go through with their threat of placing a knife in my kidney. And the third thing? Well, there isn't a third thing, unless one can count the realization that I'm not dead yet and put it in the list. I feel like death anyway. The gist of the situation right now is, well, this is the moment I've been waiting for. But what's the point? They're all gone. Rebecca, Zach, Isabella. I imagine they'd be mad at me if I gave up now. Still, what was I even thinking? Trying to save someone like Luke Wright? If he won't listen to me, I'm saving my own neck. And I have ways to do so. I've got my bobby pins! Pulling myself up by the wrists, I struggle until I can reach into my hair and pull out my ever-trusty bobbies. Man, you are tough, Ashton Frey. It takes a bit to maneuver and manage what should be a simple task because of how they've strung me up. I pull it off anyhow, and I'm soon picking the cuffs in my bid for freedom. The only way to fuck things up right now is if one of them walked in and caught me trying to escape. But it looks like they've retired for the night. A few twists and a click, and I'm free at last. Free to rub at my sore arms. Free to grab my coat, gun, and badge. And free to get the fuck out of here. That isn't to say I'm all better. I still feel shaky after what happened. Everything still hurts. But this is a significant improvement from my previous predicament. A walk in the park, in fact. After all, the room was locked from the inside. However, once the door swings open, an entirely different thing greets me. Ah, it's that time, is it? Only to be greeted by the kitchen, pots, pans, and all. There's confusion as I look wildly around the place, wordlessly taking in my surroundings. With each turn and shift of my eyes, apprehension slowly dawns on me like a bag of bricks. Wasn't that door supposed to open to a hallway? As if something has heard my thoughts, without warning, the door behind me slams shut. Screw right. I need to get out of here ASAP. Something has gone down with this mansion. Lucky I'm in the kitchen and I have 2 ways out, the back door and the cellar offers. Except the hatch won't budge when I pull at it, and neither does the back door. As if something has locked it firmly on the other side. If only there was an opening made of glass that we could smash with various utensils around here to jump out onto the lawn. Really a shame. There's a long bout of silence in which I simply look around me, mulling over the same thoughts being whispered to me over and over again.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
Oh, you're back again, eh?
You are going to die.
And you are going to die alone.
I'm trapped. In that same moment, once realization dawns in, something shifts again. Blood. Cue the journal entry. Ugh. Still reeling from the torture, Ashton carefully made his escape from the mansion. However, instead of a hallway, the kitchen greeted him instead. Before he could understand what was happening, it slammed shut behind him and the whole mansion had started to shift. In every nook and cranny, over every surface and in every inch of the floor. This time, unlike the first one I've seen, it remains, and gradually the whole room begins to reek of that familiar metallic scent, sharp, suffocating. Around me, every object, including the cupboards, have started to rattle as well. There's no time to make sense of everything. Without delay, I'm already running, fueled purely by adrenaline, reaching for the door that leads to the next room, the dining. It should take me straight to the foyer, where the main door is. The mansion has started to change, and I'm in the thick of it. However, instead of the dining room like it's supposed to open to, the bedroom welcomes me instead. An image that lasts only about a second before blood begins to seep into the room, filtering into the walls, trickling from every nook and cranny. Everywhere, furniture shakes and every beam rattles. Before I can even step back from the horror gradually unfolding in front of me, the door slams shut. A loud thud bringing a sense of dread and chill creeping up in me. Along with it is another realization. The whole place is reordering itself. And with the door closed tight behind me, showing no signs of budging even through sheer force, there's no choice but to go forward and hope to all gods that it'll lead to an exit. And I'm back in here. Until then, running's the only thing I can do, spurred by nothing but fear and a sense of desperation to live.
It's useless, Ashton Frey.
But with each room I pass, it only becomes apparent that the house has no intention of letting me leave. It lured me here, and I've fallen for it. Now it's playing a little game with me, a sordid form of amusement. For whom? Their laughters are the only thing I can hear. With every hall I cross and door I slide open, the hope of finding an exit merely dwindles. The gun at my hip is useless here. I am useless here. Some fucking genius I am. Some fucking person to trust I am. All of those, they mean nothing in the face of the unknown.
You finally figured it out. Huh, Ashton Frey? Just give it up. They die because of you.
And you are going to die alone.
Shut your fucking mouth.
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it.
It's because you keep repeating yourself like a broken record, Ghost Becca.
You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not gonna be able to save anyone.
The more gruesome the place turns, the bleaker my chances simply get. Wails and screams fill my ears as I pass by. Words from a time and people long gone, laced with nothing but pure agony, calling out, reaching out to me. Their voices almost too real, as if I'm not the only one trapped here, that there are others begging for release from this wretched place.
Why are you doing this?
Hana!
Just please! Don't you love me?
Or maybe it's all just a show. A taste of what I will eventually be, a soul forever held captive in a never-ending nightmare.
Mother, I've done it, Mother. Take me with you, please. I can still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
Is this what the curse is? What it means for all of us? That the letter is not a morbid cry for help, but an invitation? A beckoning for unsuspecting souls to be dragged into this place's horrors? To be put under centuries and centuries of torment and agony? Suddenly, dying a painful death seems preferable, enticing than ending up here, living a tortured existence. Or perhaps it's all the same. Still, hope worms its way into me. Not a usual thing for someone like me. But after going through countless doors and corridors, every little sign of hope I'm willing to cling to. As long as it'll get me out of here. I'm back in the parlor again. How long have I been running? How long since I've left the kitchen? At some point I've lost track of time. With the windows barred tight and the sounds lifting in the air nothing but shouts and shrieks, it's impossible to tell. Not that it matters when an end is in sight. Shelves and furnishings bar the door, each stained with blood and gore, that if the situation isn't as desperate as it is, I'll find a different way out. But there's still a gap left at the topmost part for a person to go through, as long as you use the shelves to climb.
It's next it all right.
From here, I can spy the familiar walls of the foyer. Relief. Only relief washes over me. Although my legs have been strained taut by all that running, and every bone and muscle in my body ache, there's only an easing. A sense of tension relieving while energy back flows through me again at the sight of an end. No sooner, I'm heading straight to it. However odd this hush is, I turn my back from it and climb up. It's a tight fit, but I manage to squeeze myself in. The unease remains, though. Maybe it's the adrenaline still coursing through me, or how easy everything has been after living through that nightmare, fleeting as it is. But for some reason, something's still nagging at me. Call it a detective's instinct, or my training, or whatnot. I have a feeling something's going to happen and catch me unprepared. Unconsciously, before dropping down on the better side of the stream, my hand shifts to the gun at my hip. Instinct has never failed me before. My feet haven't even landed firmly on the floor when...
Well, you aren't as incompetent as I thought.
Ah, we meet once again, scumbag. A chill seeps into every vein in my body. All of a sudden, every ache, every pain returns to me tenfold, and my knees threaten to buckle at the sound of his voice. Though it appears friendly, I know it is anything but. One does not spend investigating a man like him for over a year and holding a grudge against him for more without knowing everything about him. His quirks, his habits, I'm familiar with all of them. And right now, Luke fucking Wright is beyond pissed. Shifting my gaze upwards is nearly too painful, knowing the danger. In front of me, something clicks. The telltale sound of a gun's safety catch being released. Call me paranoid, but at the slight gesture I draw my own and level it at him, finger on the trigger and ready to release the safety on mine in case things go south. And there they go. No friends of mine for you to threaten this time. There it is. He is quick to train his own on me, though, and just like that, we're at a standstill.
Now, little pig. Manners. You're in no position to be pointing that gun at people.
Despite being weak and weary after the torture I've gone through, my will to live perseveres. Being friends for so long with the likes of Isabella and Rebecca has made me more stubborn than a mule over the years.
Why don't you put yours down first, and then we'll talk about manners.
Oh, he talks back. The gall! You know, your kind pisses me off so much.
Shooting him right now will be so worth it, with the way he stares at me like I'm a damn pest. But this isn't what I've come here for. I'm not a murderer. As much as I loathe him and what they did to me, I'm not the kind who will kill people in cold blood for my own gain or amusement. The law will bring him what he deserves one of these days. At the moment, however, we're all in the same boat with this curse, and he needs to understand that. The longer we stand here, the more time we're wasting and losing. Something we don't have much of. But how can I convince him? The scum is so full of himself, prefers to hear the sound of his own voice more than those of the people around him, no matter how much sense they make. Probably only way I can make him listen is if I beg. No way in hell that's happening. Maybe I should eliminate the immediate danger first and disarm him. Well, rest in peace, Ashton Frey. You had a horrible end, but it's all coming to an end now.
Sorry about this. I really don't have time for you.
I don't think twice. Ooh, right in the arm. Within the span of a heartbeat, I'm moving and pulling on the trigger. 2 shots in quick succession echo across the whole foyer, and both hit their mark true. Wright recoils with a sharp cry of pain. His pistol falls useless to the floor with a loud clank, followed by drops of blood from his bleeding wrist.
Why, you insolent!
He took that rather well. He's down in 2 successive steps when I tackle him on the floor, pinning him hard with my arm. Oh, someone wasn't happy about that. Although before I can knock him out with a solid right hook, an agonized wail bursts through the tense air, loud enough to echo along the dark, empty halls of the mansion. Piercing enough for every occupant in the foyer to cover their ears and close their eyes. Then, all at once, there are images. Oh, it's happening now! Flashing fleetingly, yet burning itself in my mind. Well, he had that as one of them. Bearing down on me with the weight of its accompanying emotions like they are my own. Some are merely vague, blurry shapes, while the others display vividly. All from a time long gone and a life that was never mine. Over and over, along with every voice, every whispers, they shout, they cry, they wail, all asking for respite from an eternal torment. However, there's no time to make sense of all of it. Amidst the discord and the noise, something whizzes. Too close, too swift. A brief, keen blur that barely registers in my eyes, like an arrow quickly finding its mark and heading straight for... Oh no, what did you get pierced by? An acute pain bursts through my chest in the next instant. All of a sudden, everything around me feels too sharp. Every edge, every point. Even the act of drawing a deep breath alone stings and burns my lungs, while an intense ache slowly spreads throughout my whole body. Numb. I feel numb. A hand comes away bleeding, shaking, while I can only let out a wet, ragged laugh. Now would be a great time to read about this in my journal. Probably. Oh, what is that? Is that a sword? Not wanting to risk anything, Ashton quickly disarmed Luke in 2 shots. But before he could move to tackle him, a wail echoed throughout the mansion. In the haze of memories and voices, an acute pain suddenly burst through his chest, and in the next moment he's falling. Soon, without warning, I'm going down on my knees, and the whole world is pitching sideways. I've gone through a lot. Survived a lot of shit. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that I'm done for. Whatever hit me, a hole to the chest is fatal enough. I don't think I'm going to bounce back from this. I'm dying. I should be afraid in this moment, yet I'm not. There are 5 stages. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, And I guess this is acceptance.
I'm coming, guys. I'll be with you soon.
No sense of regret, even as she appears before us, her voice echoing throughout the foyer. So that's what you did with the body. Are you partially possessing her? I have questions about this. At the top of the staircase, Hannah Wright stands. Pale as death, an expression eerily calm. A cold chill runs up my spine at the sight. The woman just lingers there, a poor mimicry of life, a chilling smile on her face. Without a doubt, it's her.
I told you, didn't I?
Oh, that's creepy as heck.
Everything you're doing is useless, Ashton Frey.
Not you too, Hannah.
And now, you're dying. Meddlesome fool.
She's got a different necklace on. I just noticed in the sprite. Not in the CG. I think the CG's her same necklace, but in the sprite, she's got a completely different necklace. That's the one from the opening.
How does dying alone feel, Ashton Frey?
Hannah? You're not supposed to be here.
Sorry I cut off your laugh, Hannah.
Oh, Luke, darling, my love. You look so upset. Are you not happy to see me?
Yeah. Outside, another streak of lightning flashes and a clap of thunder ripples across the sky. Here, there's only a whispered sigh, a fading breath. Oh, God! What happened to the thing that went through you? Ashton! How did your shirt come undone again? And a lone heart that beats hard one last time. Sheesh, is that how that chapter ends? Good God. Receiving a fatal wound, the last thing Ashton heard before darkness filled his vision is a mocking laughter echoing in the foyer. At the top of the grand staircase stood the ominous figure of Hannah Wright, being choked by the ghosts as well, but being okay with it. Okay, so this is the falsified court thing where she got tried as a witch. So we saw that with we saw what the outcome of this was with Becca. So she's just kind of quietly accepting it. She's covered in blood. She's like, oh God, please go do away with her. Okay. Grim Reaper. Alright, well, appropriate. Next time we catch up with this creepy music and start our final chapter, guys. I will see you then.